I think the EDC was created, and that's been validated through conversations and some of the things I've read over the years, is that Grand Forks region was very low in value-added jobs, in particular manufacturing. Our region only had 50% of a typical of the region's manufacturing jobs and companies. And manufacturing and other primary sector industries, those are the industries that bring new wealth to the community. Grand Forks is very fortunate to have institutions like the University of North Dakota, All True Health Systems, and Grand Forks Air Force Base. But I think thinking back and listening to people describe it at the time, we were resting on our laurels. And so we hadn't dedicated the time and energy to grow those value-added sectors. So the leadership of the community decided that what we were doing at that time wasn't good enough, and they needed an organization to do that type of work. And that's really the benefit of an organization like the EDC. Well, as I think about our theme, Plant and Prosper, I really just go back to at least the fact in my mind that you can't reap anything without sowing, and you can't harvest without planting. And so in order to be successful, in order to realize the success, whether it's a business expansion or an attraction project or a workforce program, without planting, without sowing the seeds early on, you're not going to be successful. You have to do the work, and the work leads to success.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the 2025 Grand Forks Region EDC Annual Meeting. For those of you that may not know me, my name is Sean Gaddy, and I am the chair of the EDC, as well as holding a day job at AE2S, at least for now. We'll see what happens here in the next few minutes. I guess right out of the gates, I'd like to thank our production partner, Mobile Pro. Great setup today. Excellent video introduction there, and the stage setup, video boards here. Thank you very much for your support. I do want to start with a welcome of our special guests. I can't see everyone quite that well out in the audience, but and then I apologize because I am going off the RSVP list for today. So if I miss someone, it's not intentional. It's for those that told us they would be here today. I don't know that Mayor Bochensky and Jenny are here yet, but are planning to be here, I think, at some point. We do have a table of city council. I can see them right in front of me, many of them. Dana Sandy, Tricia Lunsky, Danny Weigel, Mike Friedhoffs, and Rebecca Osowski. We do have many county commissioners in attendance today as well. Mark Rusted, Kimberly Hagan, Cynthia Pick, and Bob Rost. Legislators, I know we probably don't have hardly any of them in attendance today because they are doing the work in Bismarck for us. And I do think this is a moment to say thank you for an excellent announcement that did come just yesterday related to the Agricultural Diversification and Development Fund. I think I got that right. That announcement yesterday we'll touch on a little bit more here in just a moment. And then we also do have some of our friends for the military here in the Air Force Base. So we have Lieutenant Colonel Hind, and we also have Lieutenant Colonel Knadler, right? Knadler, all right. I was just given that name this morning, so apologize, but it sounds like I got it right. Thank you very much for your engagement in our community. The Air Force Base is obviously a key part to what it means to our region, so thank you very much for being here today. I'd also like to say thank you to our EDC Board of Directors. Their guidance, partnership, insights into our industry, I'm very proud to work with all of you, and I think we do have them up on the slide here today. I'd also like to say thank you to our advisory board. You can see here the large list of names that do also help provide that partnership and guidance. Our advisory board meetings are always engaging with great topics of discussion, and we appreciate everyone's participation in those and those that do participate in the advisory board itself. So with that, what I would like to do is take a moment to offer up our thank you to our past chair, John Onken. I think John is over here somewhere in the audience. John, if you could come up to the stage, we do have a gift for you. John has spent the last couple of years working with the EDC, and I think the words that came to mind as we were thinking about today was John is a roll-up-your-sleeves style of leader that he has performed in his role as chair of the EDC. So I've appreciated working with John over the last couple of years. I didn't know you all that well beforehand, but John, it's been great. I think of the things that you've done. You invited me on the guard, the day with the guard, the boss lift. That was an excellent day. The things like that you do as a leader in our community. And then I really do think back to when we were looking to get the Career Impact Academy done. The work that you put into that, when we talk roll up your sleeves, you really did roll up your sleeves and you were a big part of getting that done. And it's well on its way. We're almost there with that, right? So with that, John, we do have a gift here for you. The gift, the tractors are absolutely the right color. I know that, right? But the gift here, I think it does speak well to our mission of the EDC and especially our theme for the day, Plant and Prosper. So I know the tractors are the right color. I don't know if you're a Vincent van Gogh fan, but I think it is what it is. So yeah, with that, John, like I said, I want to say thank you for your time as the EDC chair the past 2 years, and looking forward to working with you now in an ongoing capacity. So thank you very much. I'm going to just set it here, John, so we'll... We have to make space because we got another cool picture coming later for someone else. So, with that, I just want to make a couple comments on our theme for the day. The theme for the day, Plant and Prosper. You just saw Keith make a few comments here in the video. And when I think about that, it truly is a nod to our agricultural roots. We would not be here, I think, as a community in the fashion that we're in without the idea of the agricultural community that really does support Grand Forks. And so the theme, I think, is very much appropriate, but is also very much appropriate, not only historically, but also moving forward as far as who we are as a region and what it takes to really grow the region from an economic development standpoint. It is all about planting and then prospering. And when I think about planting, I think about investments. And our community is really at the front end of making some really excellent investments. I think of three things: infrastructure, quality of life, and workforce. I'm gonna start with infrastructure because I'm an engineer, for those of you that don't know. So, infrastructure, this really, with the city council, many of you right here in front of me, the decisions that our city leadership are making when it comes to the meat and potatoes things related to infrastructure are super important. Made big investments in the water plant, big investments in the wastewater plant. We're making big transportation investments that are coming up. Those aren't always the coolest things to talk about, but they really are the foundation for what allows our community to grow, what allows big business to come into our community and make those things happen. So thank you to the Grand Forks leadership for that. Similarly, quality of life. We have to create a place where people want to live. And we are really doing that from a quality of life standpoint. The new All True Hospital, the All True Sports Center, the Children's Museum, all of those are things that are making Grand Forks a great place to live and work. And thank you to everyone that is really helping to guide those investments and bringing them to reality. And then lastly, workforce. Things like I just mentioned, John and all his support in the Career Impact Academy. There are a ton of public and private individuals that really helped get that off the ground. It truly is a community-wide effort to make that sort of investment, and making those decisions is huge for our community. Vibrancy in our downtown is another thing I think of, your quality of life and investments in our community. And then the Cooler campaign, just really thinking differently about where we live. We are obviously geographically disadvantaged where we live, but I think we have a lot of people with can-do attitudes that are looking at our area of the country and how we make it work and really turning that to a positive. All these items are seeds planted with intentionality, and I really am proud to call Grand Forks a place where we are thinking in that forward-minded fashion and how we get things done. So on to the program. After last year's program, we did run a little long, so we did decide to cut a couple of things, and we joked that as a board, we made that part of Keith's actual performance review for the year. So I'm about to call you up here to make sure that happens. Yeah, with that, like I said, I'm excited for our program today, and with that, I'll welcome Keith and Becca to the stage.
Well, thank you, Sean, for doing a great job of kicking us off today, and really looking forward to working with you as chair for the next little over, or almost 2 years. Thank you for raising your hand and agreeing to take that leadership role. And I want to underscore your comments about John Onken. John, I really enjoyed working with you as chair. You were so passionate about talking about a responsibility of an individual and organizations to invest in your community and invest in the things that help to grow the community in the region. So thank you for the leadership, and I'm glad you're going to be continuing on the board for a period of time. So thank you, John. Well, you look familiar.
I guess Keith. It has been a while since we've seen each other.
Becca and I, our business and personal travel and just meeting schedule, we haven't spent a lot of time together. So we've probably seen more of each other on screen than in person over the last 3 weeks, even though our offices are right next to one another.
Maybe this should just be our staff meeting.
We have a lot of things we could go over. So kicking things off, the word of the year, I think you all saw it. The Herald gave it great coverage. Of 2024 was momentum, and I really believe that. And I don't think that the momentum is letting up in 2025, and I'm really excited about the future. What Becca and I want to do here today is just quickly in our little segment is talk about some of the biggest announcements and the successes that we've seen over the last year. Well, the first thing, we can't really start an annual meeting or have much of an annual meeting without talking about our Gristo, one of the largest projects that we've ever worked on. We had regional farmers that worked for over 2 years, maybe close to 3, in terms of doing planting trials to demonstrate that the Red River Valley is the best place in the world to grow potatoes, and they really demonstrated that. Thanks to so many people, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but thanks to so many people who really did roll up their sleeves to make this a reality. We were so thrilled when in early January they announced that Grand Forks was going to be their first North American manufacturing plant. And this will result in a capital investment of over $450 million and over 300 to 350 jobs in our community.
Another big project, years in the making. In January, Altru cut the ribbon on their $500 million healthcare facility. And when you talk about luring people to your community, certainly healthcare, quality of life, is a huge impact. So congratulations to Altru and to their team for making that happen.
One of the underpinnings of a thriving business community is air service and connectivity to the rest of the world. And thanks to the aggressive and bold leadership of Mayor Buczynski, we're making progress in that area. With support of the Grand Forks City Council, the City of Grand Forks hired the Meehan Aviation Group to be their air service consultant with the task of pursuing a small community air service development grant to help us attract a new carrier. And less than 1 year after the mayor launched this bold initiative, we were successful in securing $1 million from the U.S. Department of Transportation that'll help us secure an additional carrier to Grand Forks. I want to thank many of you in this room, businesses. A big part of that grant was having additional funding to match the federal funds to help secure that grant, and the business community stepped up and helped and committed $200,000 to that. I need to thank Barry Wilford. He said he was going to try to make it back from Bismarck. I haven't seen him. Maybe he's there. He's here today. He was a strong partner in talking about the importance of investing to regional businesses, and Ryan Riesinger for his support in air service expansion.
Speaking of flying high, look at all those shining faces. That is your future workforce and UND's incoming class this year. UND had their third highest enrollment ever in recorded history, which is huge because we've seen trends going the opposite direction for many institutes of higher education. So we are also told that their upcoming fall registration is looking very good as well. So congratulations, UND and President Armacost.
And for the first time in 30 years, a B-1 bomber landed at Grand Forks Air Force Base. They're temporarily assigned to Grand Forks from Ellsworth Air Force Base in South Dakota. And this mission, a temporary mission, will be accompanied by 800 airmen that will be a part of our community for several months. And if you're not sure if this is really economic development, ask any hotel owner in Grand Forks. It is economic development. Even though Colonel Monroe couldn't be here today, I really want to thank him, so hopefully you can extend that to him. I really appreciate his leadership. He's been a member of the EDC board as a duty liaison, and his counsel and advice have been fantastic. I do also want to thank Lieutenant Colonels Hind and Knadler for being here today. The men and women and the airmen at Grand Forks Air Force Base are truly part of our community and add a tremendous amount of vibrancy to Grand Forks. I sometimes think we take for granted that the airmen at Grand Forks Air Force Base raised their hand and agreed to serve, and in a time of adversity agreed to run towards the fight rather than run away for it. So I really like to thank all the airmen at Grand Forks Air Force Base for their service to the country.
With the support of several of you in this room, we launched the first ever cohort of Intern Grand Forks Summer Cohort. What we did is we took all of the interns interning at any company across Grand Forks, and we decided to show them why it was a good choice to stay here after college. They had 6 weeks of dedicated leadership training and development and got to experience many parts of the community. And after completing the program, their perception of life in Grand Forks was much higher than when they started. You'll hear a little bit later tonight from one of the participants who chose to stay here after experiencing the internship program.
We were thrilled to help PS Industries celebrate 50 years of manufacturing in Grand Forks. Corey Mellon, their president, is here today, and congratulations to you and your team. I remember meeting Corey in 2006, and I'm not sure how large your facility was at that time on North Washington Street, but it kind of resembles a shoebox compared to the size of the facility that you're in today. As much as we're excited to celebrate 50 years, it's the next 50 years that I think is the most exciting. The demand for their products continue to grow. They're acquiring different product lines and bringing that value back to Grand Forks.
Another big announcement that happened last fall, then Governor Burgum announced Grand Forks as the Urban Main Street Excellence Award winner. And this was given to the city of Grand Forks and the Grand Forks Region EDC, but certainly this was as a result of the many community partnerships that help make this a vibrant place. In fact, in their award recognition of Grand Forks, they said that our degree of collaboration in community development and economic development was the reason for the award. So thank you to organizations like the Downtown Development Association, the Chamber, the city, and the county, who all play a part in helping make this a vibrant community to live.
In May of 2024, we hosted 3 site selectors who worked with companies across the globe to site projects all across the United States. We had 2 goals for that. Number 1, we wanted to showcase Grand Forks to a broader array of people that are doing that type of work. And we also wanted to get their feedback on how we were profiling Grand Forks to the rest of the world. They gave us some great advice, and we're implementing a number of those things that they provided. But similar to what Becca just said, they were really blown away with the assets that we have. So we're still a little bit of a secret, and I guess it's our responsibility to make that less a secret. But also, again, as Becca mentioned, they were blown away by the collaboration and how the community came together to talk about why they're so proud of Grand Forks.
And while we want them on our doorsteps, we also want our Amazon packages on our doorsteps. And so this is a picture of us touring Amazon's Last Mile facility, which opened here in Grand Forks just this last month. Now we'll be able to get our packages faster, and that certainly is something I'm looking forward to.
And you know, in this type of work and success and the many other things we don't have time to talk about couldn't happen without tremendous leadership. Thanks to the mayor for the way you aggressively pursued growth, city councilors, county commissioners, school board members, Jill's team at the Downtown Development Association, Red River Regional Council, the Chamber, and many, many others, and state elected officials, as Sean mentioned. Economic development is truly a region-wide initiative. Mm-hmm. This is my one time, and Becca's my one time every year to talk a little bit about the mission of the Grand Forks Region EDC, which is to expand economic opportunity for the citizens of the region through industry growth and diversification, and that's an important component of that mission. And we do that through support of primary sector companies.
And primary sector companies are those who make goods in the area and then sell them outside of the area. And all of that is new wealth that's created for the region. So there's many primary sector companies that exist in Grand Forks, places like Integrated Steel Solutions, Simplot, GE, Vernova, LM Wind Power, General Atomics, Northrop Grumman. We have a list of 152 members, but Sean said we had to stay on time.
And those primary sector companies pay local wages, they pay local and state taxes, and they purchase goods and services from many of you in this room. And again, they do that from resources that come to our community from outside the region.
And we focus on primary sector for that region. We compile a list of job and wage growth from our clients over the last 10 years, and then we report back to you. So here's how we're looking. In the last 10 years, we've seen a 10% increase in the number of jobs that have been created by EDC clients, a 42% increase in the average annual salary they pay to their employees, and a 55% increase in overall payroll. So that's looking pretty good.
And the direct payroll has a direct impact in the region of $645 million annually.
The other thing that we monitor is things like goods and services. And so we have had $216 million of total expenditures from EDC member companies.
Those services could be construction, architectural engineering, transportation, equipment sales and leasing, healthcare services, catering, and even crop purchases from local farmers. That regional combined impact is $861 million. I like to round up. Many of you know I don't know that I can get that to $1 billion, but I'm confident by next year we'll be able to share that number. The primary sector is growing, which is a big part of the region's success. You know, and all this progress wouldn't be possible without great leaders, and that's going to be a theme throughout the day today. Just like the organization receiving this year's Klaus Thiessen EDC Impact Award. Here's more about the award. The EDC first launched the Impact Award in 2014. We felt that we really needed to recognize and celebrate those individuals and those companies that went the extra mile to have a real significant impact on our economy.
We have the unique ability to celebrate and recognize somebody who's gone really above and beyond for the community to dedicate their time and energy to the economic development of our community.
Klaus Thiessen was the longest-serving CEO and president in the organization's history. Klaus retired in the summer of 2017, and you know, we were thinking about at that time how to recognize and acknowledge you know, really his impact on the region. And so one of the things that we came up with was renaming the Impact Award after Klaus.
And I think one of the neat things about Klaus is that he really understood collaboration, and so that award is the recognition of all of us working together to try to move Grand Forks forward.
And that means working in collaboration with others. It means partnerships. It means capital investment, job creation, business expansion. It means working on having good infrastructure in the community, all of those things.
Klaus symbolizes, you know, effective leadership, and I think the people and the organizations that we recognize embody the spirit of that award.
You know, when I think of the past award winners, so many of them have had such a great impact on what Grand Forks has become and what Grand Forks has the opportunity to become moving forward.
I think of a person that's very humble, out-of-the-box thinker, passionate about helping the community, business, government. Maybe times that person is a tool to help bring people together or navigate apart depending on the topic.
and is really willing to roll their sleeves up and support the economic development of our region.
Are we on? There we go. The Impact Award is very special to me. You heard a lot about Klaus. I had the privilege of working for Klaus for 11 years. And it was mentioned it was renamed after him when he retired in 2017. So 2018 was the first opportunity we had to bestow the award to someone with Klaus Thiessen's name. And I was very pleased to learn that the very first Klaus Thiessen EDC Impact Award winner was going to be here tonight. John Smizik, a former city finance director, and really was recognized for your work on the Grand Forks County Commission in your leadership of Grand Sky. So John, thank you for being here today. I don't know if it's an understatement or an overstatement to say that all that we celebrate with Grand Sky, I'm not sure we'd be able to celebrate that without John's leadership. We generally provide this recognition and award to an individual, but we do have a category for organizations and businesses, and that's what we're going to do today. When we take a look at an organization or a business, we think about the jobs that they create and support in the community and the investments and how they give back to the community. And really, when we talked about it at the board, we couldn't think of a better organization. One really stood above. And so without further ado, I'd like to recognize All True Health System as the 2025 Klaus Thiessen EDC Impact Award winner. I don't know if...
How did you know that?
Well, I knew that. I don't know how many of you know that rabid Def Leppard fans.
Yes.
So I'm not sure if we knew that or...
It doesn't sound like very many others in the crowd. But yes.
Just the two of us.
Right.
Well, fantastic. Congratulations, and thank you for being here today. We're going to have a little bit of a conversation, but as I mentioned, when we talked about it at the award level, we couldn't think of a better organization to recognize an all through and all the things that you've done for the community. Todd, I want to start with you. You've seen the video. You've been here for a few of the presentations. I'm just wondering if you have any comments to make or what it means to you to be receiving this recognition named after Klaus.
Absolutely. So thank you, Keith, and all that were involved in this. And first, I'd like to recognize the 3,400 All True employees who come to work each and every day and give of themselves to provide an environment of hope and healing. We really look at that as a privilege to be able to not only serve Grand Forks, but the greater Grand Forks region. So we're humbled. And we're very grateful. And, it's been a really busy year for us so far, opening a new hospital, very soon adding a new hospital to the All True family with Devil's Lake. And now to take this on is just, our hearts are full of gratitude for this. And, we recently updated our mission statement to be making a difference for those we serve. And to win an Impact Award like this really feels like just a part of that mission statement, so thank you.
That's fantastic. One of the dangers when you don't refer to your notes is you do step 2 before step 1. So I'm going to go back to step 1 and say that we, when we recognize an individual, we get a plaque or something like that they can put on their mantle. But thinking about recognizing an organization, we wanted to do something that could hopefully be displayed and demonstrate to the employees, as you mentioned, about the impact that you have on the community. So we commissioned the painting here by Eric Castle, so maybe I need to move a little bit. And so it was fantastic. So he's got the previous hospitals and the new hospital coming out of that. Then he made a comment, and there's a note on the back for you, but part of his comment was, it symbolizes their shared purpose over time, and I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Awesome, thank you.
Todd, again, so you've had some success, we've learned, and you've talked, I've been in several meetings with you about you've made some progress in terms of recruiting doctors and recruiting nurses, and I know the community is a big part of that. Can you share a little bit about how you've been able to realize that success and how the community has supported you in that regard?
Absolutely. It takes a village to do recruitment. I know everybody in here understands that, and as one of the largest organizations in northeastern part of North Dakota, we do a lot of recruiting, and I'm probably the new guy here. I've been in Grand Forks for 3 years, but I remember coming for a visit with my wife in December of 21, and we spent a couple days here, and as we were leaving going down south on I-29, we just talked about this great vibe that we could feel in the community, in the downtown, and all the people we were meeting. And then when I was lucky enough to get the job and came back here in spring of 22, I don't know if he first coined the phrase, but I was at an event that Mayor Bochensky was speaking at, and he used the word momentum. And I was like, that's it. That's it. That's the word that helps describe this community. And, you know, it's even the small things like the Cooler Initiative. We do interview a lot of folks and their loved ones. They do all the research. And it's an aggregator that we all we all have a role in that to make a positive impact and do.
That's great to hear. Workforce development is a key part of economic development today, so it's good to hear that the community is having an impact. Dr. Deere, Josh, I'd like to turn to you next. The hospital is just an amazing facility. I mean, when we walk in, you're just amazed at the quality and the care that the community will receive. So keeping in line with the workforce conversation, can you talk a little bit about how the new hospital is having an impact in supporting your workforce needs?
Yeah, I think the main thing is, why can't we be a medical destination? As you heard, the list of different initiatives and businesses that you went through and entities, for all of those to be thriving, to be the best, this offers us a tool to live out that. We obviously have a huge recruiting tool right now. We have the most state-of-the-art hospital in the Midwest. I can easily say that because we're the newest open.
Yep.
So.
You know, I've told many people that when either companies or individuals are looking to move to Grand Forks or the region, the first question is either healthcare or education, and the second one is the one they didn't ask about first. So it's clearly an important factor when it comes to recruiting people and companies to Grand Forks. So also want to stick with you, Josh. You've been you probably the longest serving tenure here at Altru in terms of on the panel anyway, so you're the young old guy.
I am, yeah, that's right.
So can you talk a little bit about the history of the organization since you've been here a while, and sort of, you know, it's been referred to many times. I've heard a lot of Altru folks talk about it as the community's health system. Can you talk a little bit about what that means to you and the Altru family?
Yeah, I think the community aspect really has layers. You look at that painting, you know, originally started downtown as a Catholic institution, molded into a vision as what it's going to be in this, what used to be a slough out on our current medical campus, and led to collaboration between United Hospital and the Grand Forks Clinic forming Altru. So Altru has a long history of forming collaborations, and a key to that is understanding who your community is. And the community we serve is far greater than the Grand Forks East, Grand Forks zip codes. Half of the people that walk through our doors every day are from not Grand Forks. They're from the region. They're not from Eastside. So understanding that our community is greater than ourselves is really important to us, and we strive to reach a level of care that our community and region is proud of.
That's great. That's such a rich history. Thank you for sharing that. Christy, turning to you, you know, as we discussed it with the board in our nomination process, talked about, you know, Altru's sort of culture of philanthropy and giving back to the community. And, you know, we talked about things like the UND Fritz Pollard Center in Grand Forks Public Schools with respect to the Career Impact Academy. I never asked anybody for $1 million for it, much less say yes, so that was a big moment for me too. And most recently, the Altru Sports Complex. So can you talk a little bit about, you know, how Altru gives back to the community?
Absolutely. You know, and as I look around this room, I mean, we are just so fortunate to have so many really impactful partnerships with so many businesses and organizations. Many of you are in this room right now, and we are just so honored to be able to build those partnerships together. When we look at what we want to invest in and who we want to partner with, it really goes back to the mission that Todd talked about, making a difference for those we care for. So when we look at community partnerships, that's really about through that lens of promoting health and wellness and how do we care through how we partner. And so to give you a couple examples, the Blue Zones Project, the vision of Blue Zones is to make the healthy choice the easy choice, right, for everybody, regardless of what challenges they might have or what problems they may face for getting access to healthy food or being able to be involved in healthy activities. So that's just like a perfect alignment with our mission, right? And when you think about the Ultra Sports Complex, and we've talked about that a couple of times today, I mean, that's going to be such a premier institution, and it's just going to allow so much more access and opportunities for our youth to really engage in healthy activities and to, take down some of those barriers that they currently have. And really, it'll be a place for other residents to engage in healthy activities as well. And then, as we've talked about, as one of the largest employers in Grand Forks, we really take seriously our role in recruiting and retaining a workforce. And we know that those amenities make a difference. So we definitely look at that as part of our role as well. How can we influence tourism? How can we just contribute to the overall economy? So those are all pieces that we look at. And of course, Career Impact Academy. I remember that phone call very well, Keith. You did a great job asking for $1 million. And again, that's just a really easy thing for us to say yes to, because we know not only will it impact Altru's workforce, but really the workforce needs across our community. So we're really privileged to take part in all of these things.
Sure. Thanks, Christy. Just moving on, we have some red numbers down here, so we'll have to move along a little quickly. You've been in the community well, and you've seen, Altru's impact both from outside the organization, running another one for many years, but then also from sort of inside the organization. And can you talk a little bit about the current leadership and the value that they place on, what we've talked about here this afternoon?
Yeah, I mean, I am really energized to work with these two. They are great leaders. I think about our whole executive team and really just our whole leadership team. We are driven by our values about doing the right thing, winning as a team, going above and beyond, and being kind to each other. And I would just say to a person, we're really trying to live those out. And so it comes out in things like the Therapeutic Learning Center that we do with the Grand Forks Public Schools and LaGrave on First, and just other ways that we partner and give back. And we're just really honored to be able to do that.
Well, I know we're all very grateful of the contributions of Altru Health System. I mean, the new hospital, a $500 million investment. One of my favorite sayings is investment is validation. Do you have confidence in the community and the region moving forward? So that speaks a lot, I think, to the things that we value as an EDC and we value as a community. So thank you very much, and please help me congratulate one more time Altru Health Systems, the Impact Award winner. So, as Altru is moving into a new hospital, let's learn a little bit how the community is trying to say bye, bye, bye to our workforce constraints. That's going to make sense in a second.
30 years ago, do you know where this region was? Well, let's put it this way. There were a lot of butterfly clips, bucket hats, and in-sync posters. A lot of UND students who came here for school then said bye, bye, bye. So our community said, we've got 99 problems and this is one. Calls were made. We rallied our mayor, our community leaders, and even our university pres and got to work to solve it. 30 years later, the Grand Forks region is beating the nation in young professional retention. So how did we do it? Well, it didn't take too much work. We just made major investments in our university, founded a young professional chapter that's 400 people strong, decided to make our quality of life a little cooler by investing in plans for an interactive children's museum, a massive community fitness complex, a walkable downtown full of concerts, street fairs, and public art, an enormous area for concerts and sporting events, 37 public parks, state-of-the-art public schools, a bike share program for our people to ride down 21 miles along our river, and even an apartment building with a rooftop hot tub and a dog park. I'm like sweating. And that's it. Well, I guess we did start attracting some top companies and new industries. Things sure have started to advance around here. Maybe you haven't gotten the 411 about places like Cirrus Aircraft, one of the top sellers of aircraft in the world, or Northrop Grumman, which flies drones to keep our country safe. Or how about American Crystal Sugar, which makes all the sugar for some pretty sweet products. We're not sponsored by Pepsi-Cola, but we'd like to be. But we're sure you've heard of places like Altru Health System. They've gotten a glow up since the 90s. Check out that brand spanking new $500 million hospital, complete with a robot surgeon named Da Vinci. Or hey, how about the University of North Dakota making other universities look pretty green with envy? The campus makeover has attracted top minds and hundreds of jobs. Or our Air Force Base landing the Global Hawk mission and leasing land for a first-of-its-kind drone test site. There's also top-secret stuff happening like... Sure, the past was rad, and the present is bussin', but your future is here. In the last few years, we've had $1 billion of development. And our future is looking bright, but we can't continue to grow without you. If you're looking for a place where you can fast-track your career, make a difference, and be in a place full of life, Greater Grand Forks has got it going on. And hey, we're even bringing back bucket hats.
Well, Grand Forks sure has leveled up. I moved to the community about 13 years ago, and watching all of the developments that have happened just in my time, let alone 30 years of development, has been pretty darn cool. It makes me really professionally and personally proud to live here. This video that you just watched is part of an upcoming series that we made for UND's Networking at Night in partnership with UND's Experiential Learning Center. So that event is going to happen next week, and it's highlighting all of the local career opportunities for students to meet and network with local companies. And 7 years ago, the Grand Forks Region EDC launched Greater Grand Forks Way Cooler Than You Think, a talent attraction initiative, because industry came to us and said, we need to be sharing our story. We need to be talking about all the cool reasons there are to live here. But workforce is more than just cooler. It's more than just recruiting and retaining. We really at the Economic Development Corporation have looked at it systematically as a pipeline. What types of programs do you have for K-12 students? How are you making sure college students have internships? How do you make sure that those who are going in the trades have the right type of training involved? And of course, how do you make sure people from outside of Grand Forks know about us? So we, like everything else that we talked about, don't do that work in silos. Places like Job Service, Grand Forks Public Schools, the University of North Dakota and Northland Technical College, and Lake Region State College are some of our most incredible partners in that work. But we're gonna focus on two of the initiatives that we have launched and really helped run. And to highlight some of those workforce programs, we have Joe Zahara and Bella Peterson. So please help me welcome them. So both of you, like me, are not from Grand Forks City. So Bella, can you tell me a little bit about how you got here to Grand Forks?
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me. And I came up to Grand Forks and I was really interested in the hockey atmosphere up here. I grew up playing hockey, so UND I knew was going to be the perfect school for me. And then, of course, the Nistler College of Business was a selling factor as well. So knew I wanted that hockey atmosphere, that smaller town college kind of homey feel, and knew that Grand Forks was the perfect place for me to continue on with college.
And you're from Mound, Minnesota?
Mound, Minnesota,
Yeah,
yes.
Where's that located?
It's on the west side of the Twin Cities in the suburbs there.
Okay,
so,
great.
Yes.
And Joe, how about yourself? How did you wind up here in Grand Forks?
Well, thank you, Becca. I'm actually from a farm and ranch up by Pembina, North Dakota. If any of you guys are familiar with that, it's the farthest you can go north of here without hitting Canada. So after graduating high school, I was looking at my options for college. And I was actually at a tour at NDSCS in Wahpeton and happened to see the True North Equipment booth there, who I recognized from the Northern Valley Career Expo a couple years prior. So I went over there and I was talking with them, and I learned that they offered really great programs like tuition reimbursement and then North Dakota Career Builders Scholarship. So that really caught my attention. I took that home with me. I reached out to the Grafton True North store and I set up an interview. And after talking with the manager there, I learned that they were really interested in investing in not only my education, but also my future through mentorship, internships, and offer me a job after college before I even started college. So it was a real no-brainer to me. I actually ended up going down to Wahpeton at NDSCS there, and I got my degrees in agronomy and precision ag. And now I'm here in Grand Forks as an integrated solution consultant at True North.
That is an amazing journey. So you mentioned Northern Valley Career Expo, and that is one of the programs that the EDC helps lead in partnership with about 13 other organizations. And it brings 2,000 high school students from 52 different school districts to Grand Forks for a day of career exploration. So can you tell me a little bit what your experience was like as a 10th grader going through the expo?
Yeah, of course. So the Career Expo was not only impressive, but I would say overwhelming. I mean, there's just so many opportunities and careers that are there, and as a 10th grader, you're not thinking about your careers after high school, let alone college. So like I said, it was very impressive to see all that there and walk around and see everything. But obviously with my background in ag and my interest in agriculture, I was drawn to the True North booth, like I said, with all the tractors there and everything. So I got to kind of crawl around there and get my first taste of, cutting edge and new technology and equipment. And I took home a lot of good information that day, but I think the best thing I took home was this hat that I still have from all those years ago. It's a little bit worn, but it's still here just like me for the ride, so.
Wow, a 10-year-old hat. I wonder what the sweat stains are like on that. Would you say that attending the Career Expo really helped you understand your opportunities and get you to the career you're at today?
Yeah, I would say 100%. I think the biggest thing with the Career Expo, as with any other event like that, the exposure that a company can get to students and people is just totally invaluable. I've been a part and been fortunate enough to be a part of a lot of events like that now at True North and trying to help recruit and get awareness out to young people like myself still of the opportunities they have available to them. So I think it's really impactful to see all the opportunities that are there.
Yeah, I think that event is one of the premier events in the region, so we're really glad that you attended, that True North was there, what a great provider of career education, and that they also invested in things like a Career Builder Scholarship. Another program that we helped launch this past summer is the Intern Grand Forks Summer Cohort Program, and that brought interns who were working at any company in Grand Forks for an experience where they got to spend 6 weeks across the summer connecting with each other, connecting with area leaders, and then participating in things that help them get a good feel of what Grand Forks has to offer. Things like kayaking on the Red River, touring Choice Health and Fitness, or even building sets for the Empire Arts Center. So Bella, you went through that, and I'm happy that you were able to experience the Intern Grand Forks Summer Cohort. What was your favorite part?
I would say my favorite part was definitely the industry tour day, where we got to go to multiple different industries and different companies in Grand Forks here, and we got to meet various leaders, and that stuck out to me the most because I got to really see that Grand Forks was a lot more than just the college through that there were so many more economic opportunities for me, and that it really opened up my eyes to see what I wanted to do after college, and being able to connect with those leaders and network with them made me feel more safe about my decision of staying here in the future for my own economic well-being there.
Yeah, we had days focused on arts and culture and sports and rec, but resoundingly, college students like the industry tour days the best out of all, so that was cool. And you said you're graduating this summer.
I am, yes.
So what's your next step?
My next step is to stay in Grand Forks for at least another year and continue doing business development for RJ Energy Solutions, my current internship right now.
Woo! So I'm sure the job offer was a large reason, but how did the summer cohort program help you make your decision?
The Summer Intern Grand Forks program definitely shaped my vision to see that Grand Forks wasn't just UND, and that's kind of the perception I had before coming here and being a student here, but going through, especially the Sports and Recreation Day, being able to see that there's so much more opportunity here for not just me, but for everybody looking for something here, and also knowing that there's that job stability here as well.
Sure, you like hockey, but you didn't know you liked kayaking, so.
It's definitely an interesting day, but a lot of fun. Yeah.
And Joe, how about you? What's your have now for the future?
So I recently just transitioned to officing out of the Grand Forks location here. So that's been exciting. I have lived in Grand Forks now for about a year, and that's been great. So I guess right now my plans are to stick with True North and see what opportunities they and the city of Grand Forks have to offer.
Awesome. So you hear that, John? Sounds like you got a future leader in action. So thank you both for being here today and sharing your story. Everyone, please help me thank Bella and Joe. I think both of your stories really highlight why workforce pipeline programs really matter. For you, it was seeing the quality of life, and for you, it was connecting with employers that you might not have otherwise known about. And what we've learned is that we've had a 23% growth of 25 to 39-year-olds in our region after graduation. This is crushing national averages, which is about 11%. So that's awesome to hear. We continue to add programs that matter into our workforce pipelines, and one of the things we're actively working on are plans for manufacturing sector growth and unmanned and autonomous system sector growth. So next up, let's hear from some local businesses about why Grand Forks is helping them prosper in the region.
Why Grand Forks?
Why Grand Forks?
Ideal is headquartered in Grand Forks. Our corporate headquarters is here. And we have found a very robust and committed employment base here, and that's why we're here.
We've had very good luck and support from the community through my relationships, spending my entire 30-year career in Grand Forks and Fargo, and that is why we've opened our shop here and are mastering our craft here.
In my experience, the city and the county and the state actually are all fairly tied together, and if we have a large project that has unique needs, they're all eager to hear about it and then try to understand how they might be able to help. We feel a lot of encouragement as far as loan programs, grant programs, training programs, those types of things. So I would say it's very business friendly.
Some of the things, the building, the equipment that we've had to purchase are big ticket items, and to be able to start from scratch, be able to get these interest buy downs have been very helpful to us. We haven't had to go find big investors or anything else. We've just kind of done it ourselves, and that's because of the PACE program.
We recently got approved for a PACE loan on a new building that we're working toward. We've used the automation tax credit. Obviously, the intern program has helped us get multiple interns, both in engineering and in sales and marketing, and many of those have become full-time employees.
So we've worked with the EDC staff mostly through the PACE. They're doing the legwork, they're filling out the applications, they're working directly with our banker to do that. So when we walk into that meeting and we're asking for the city to approve some interest buy down for us, they've already been prepped, they already know what we do, they've been told about our business, what we're doing, what our growth is, the benefit that we're bringing to the city. So it's just, again, made it easy for us, and we appreciate all that they've done.
Well, that video was an extension of our award-winning Why Grand Forks for US video that premiered in 2002 that really talks about the value and how our community and the region can support businesses that are thriving. So Integrated Steel Solutions and Ideal Aerosmith are having success in the region because of the support that they've received from the community. We're very fortunate to be joined by Sandy Luck. She owns 3 businesses, maybe more, but those are 3 that I know about. North Dakota Coffee Roastery, Billy Brew Coffee, and The Boardroom, and Molly Ficasello from 3 Farm Daughters. So please help me welcome Sandy and Molly to the stage. Both of you are probably a little different spot in your journey than the folks on the video, so I'm anxious to talk to you a little bit about that. And Sandy, I think a lot of people know about you from Bully Brew Coffee, and maybe some from the boardroom. And you heard Becca and I talk about, you know, how we support primary sector businesses, and there might be people there and saying, why is she up there? So how did you get here today? Why are you here, Sandy?
Yeah, I'm not really sure. Well, I'll tell you about the North Dakota Coffee Roastery. It is a 27,000 square foot warehouse here in Grand Forks on Dyke Avenue, cleverly hidden. And that's where we roast the coffee beans. So we have large equipment in there and a packaging system, and that's where we make the magic blends.
Fantastic. And Molly, I'm guessing more people know about Three Farm Daughters. I mean, not everyone I know has a Super Bowl commercial. Hopefully you saw that. But they may not know exactly what you do. So could you tell us a little bit about what Three Farm Daughters does in your company?
Yeah, Three Farm Daughters is just that. My sisters and I started a company a couple years ago focusing, it's a better for you food brand that focuses on pastas. So our family's been farming in the Grand Forks area for over 30 years, and we came together to make this company. We sell our pastas in retail, so grocery stores, online, on Amazon, and then we do food service.
Great. Well, Molly, we've worked with your dad for many years, and it's really exciting to work with the next generation. I guess that just proves that I'm old. You know, I visited with you and your sisters, and I've asked you the same question. It must be great to work with your sisters, and all three of you say something like, most of the time.
We'll say it depends on the day.
So I know you have an interesting story about sort of leaving and coming back together and how that created, you know, a value for you and your families and how that has inspired your company. Maybe share a little bit more about that part of your journey.
Yeah, we were all born and raised here, graduated from Red River, and then upon graduating high school, left to, you know, go for higher education. Family's really important to us, and we always say the farm as agriculture and agriculture community pulls in your heartstrings. So we slowly all trickled back, whether it be for spouses or higher education, things like that, and eventually all ended on the farm. When we were all kind of back together, all of a sudden the idea of Three Farm Daughters sparked, and now we are on our second journey of bringing value added to the farm.
Great. Sandy, if I remember correctly, you started out as a sort of on a small scale with locally purchased roasters and have built the company by bootstrapping and really just by your tenacity. So maybe a little bit about your journey and how that all started.
Sure. My journey started with coffee in about 2005, and that's when I was working at the University of North Dakota, and there was a coffee hut that I would go through every day called Mountain Mud. And there was a for sale sign on that coffee hut. And I said, oh my gosh, you guys can't sell this. And the barista said, you should buy it. And I was like, I don't know a whole lot about this, but that's a good idea. So I did call and I spoke to this amazing gentleman and I said, I'm a single mom. I have no money. I really don't know how to run a coffee house, but I want to buy this and I want your help. And he did. He helped me out. He started with my coffee journey by selling me those coffee kiosks. And then in about 2010 is when Bully Brew started. I started in the Valley Elder Care location and with just a very small location. Continued to work at UND, so did both. And in probably about 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago, purchased the coffee company, which is on Columbia Road, and it also had the roaster in it. At that time, I was teaching at UND, and I loved the business aspect, and said, I can make those beans, I can sell them not only to my coffee shops, but I could sell them to lots of other coffee shops around the Midwest, or at least in a few areas. Did that, and started that journey. Now we have 9 retail locations, Boardroom and Bully Brew Coffee, and then the Coffee Roastery. And the Coffee Roastery does, we do probably about 25 different kinds of blends of coffee. We roast for our own coffee shops, and then we roast for about 120 other wholesale customers in the Midwest, hoping to grow that to other areas in the United States.
That's great. That's quite a journey from buying a coffee hut to a coffee roastery selling coffee all over the upper Midwest, and I know you have bigger plans. You talked a little bit about when we met and a little bit here today about how the community has supported you, and you've worked with a lot of people, you never do it alone, but can you talk a little bit about how the community has been supporting you and making your journey just a little bit easier, hopefully?
Sure, absolutely. Great community. I'm very lucky to be in Grand Forks, and I'm very lucky to have the people around me. I think EDC is one that has been a great benefit for me, understanding the financial benefits of the PACE program and other ways that I can financially do it. As you talked about, I don't come from money. My dad was a janitor, my mom was a grocery clerk, and to do something like this, I knew I had to find other resources. I have great mentors, and many of them are in this room. And I think about somebody very important, Kevin. Kevin spent his birthday with me for just a few hours this year, talking a lot about different resources and financial ways that I can continue to grow the roastery and continue to move forward. Sure. My team is also amazing. Over on table 8 is where I think they all are. And I will tell you, I have a great leadership team. I have about 72 employees, and they're remarkable. We are blessed with the workforce that we have.
Yeah. I'm very happy that the EDC could open some doors and highlight some programs that maybe you might not have known about. And I know Kevin spends a lot of time, and he's really excited about your potential. Molly, similarly, maybe just a little bit of different journey, but can you talk a little bit about how Grand Forks and the broader community has supported Three Farm Daughters?
Yeah, a little bit different. We didn't necessarily know, well, one, we found North Dakota to be very business friendly as a state and as a city. It was very opening, something as simple as being able to, when we started, knock on Hugo's door and just figure out, we don't know anything how to do this, but how do we do this? But additionally, EDC came into the 3FD life and really opened up, these are the programs that are in the state, and this is what you can qualify for, and this is what the state wants to do to help you. So working with EDC and helping them to identify things that we can qualify for, telling us that we are primary sector and that we can qualify through things for that, so helping with that, as well as the intern GF program we've participated in. So I think ultimately North Dakota as a whole has been a great state for us to participate in our business, but the community, we are where we are today. Bully Brew is where you are today because of Grand Forks. And it's actually ironic enough that you say coffee company. I actually remember when it switched to Bully Brew because I was in school at UND studying. So.
That's great. You both have such an interesting history, really bootstrapping and working and persevering through your early challenges. And you mentioned your brother is a business owner, so there must be something back in the DNA to drive your family to own businesses. And Molly, coming together with your sisters to create Better For You Pasta, that's a term that you used when we spoke, and I know that's a big part of your mission and a big focus of your family, so it's fantastic. So you're at an earlier stage in your journey than the companies that we saw on the video, so I guess I can't help but ask, what's next? Maybe Sandy, I'll start with you.
Sure. I'm excited for what's next, and I'm excited to grow. We're not done growing. We have a lot to do left in Grand Forks, and when I think about our roastery, as I said, it's 27,000 square feet. It's much bigger than what we use. It's very empty right now, and we need to fill it. And so to understand how to do that with coffee beans, I need to find some more mentors. I need to find those people who have done that. Coffee roasting is not something that a lot of people know about. I think there's less than 100 large coffee roasters in the United States. And so there's not a lot of people to go to. So I'm again, thankful for the resources that I have. And I think the next step is to grow that, increase our sales, into more coffee houses in the United States and bring our coffee beans in more places.
Great. Molly, I guess simply same question. What's the future hold? What's the dream?
Same answer. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I think something similar. We started Three Farm Daughters. We're still a pretty young company. We only have 6 different pastas available today. So we obviously want to continue to grow with additional pastas, continue to grow the span of what we reach. But how we positioned the company was really to be a better for you pantry staple, an elevated everyday staple. And so because the Red River Valley is so vast in what it can grow, you have everything in this valley from edible beans to oats to rye and wheat is, flour, the base is flour. And so I think there's a lot of potential there. And so we're really excited to see where Three Farm Daughters can go.
And you're looking hopefully to pull some additional activity in business.
Yes. So we are actually working with the state today and with EDC to see if we can bring some of the manufacturing that unfortunately had to leave the state back to Grand Forks.
That's great. Well, I really enjoyed this conversation. Maybe it's an overused joke, but I just learned my performance evaluation is kind of connected to ending on time, and I have another red number up here. So I think we better end the conversation now, but really help me thank Sandy and Molly for spending a few minutes with us today. And thank you very much. And while they're moving off stage, thank you very much. I want to invite Sean up here, and we'll just have a quick conversation and wrap things up and get you to why you really came, which was the open bar and the appetizers. Well, Sean, thanks again for kicking us off and concluding, and thanks for being chair. I just want to ask you, your impressions of, first 3 or so months of being chair for the EDC and really how it relates to our theme today. What are some thoughts leading into and then after you've heard the conversations at the annual meeting today?
Yeah, so, a lot of great conversation here today. And I think of a word, I think we've used the word vision a lot today, but I think of a word focus. And I think, as we look for our region moving forward, we really have to have, because of where we're at, things don't happen easy for us here. Although we try to make it easy and we do everything we can as an EDC to make it easy, I think focus on hard work and hard decisions are key to the success of our region. And many times there are hard decisions that have to be made to create all the success stories that we've heard here today. I think back, I grew up in the Grand Forks region. I left, unfortunately, to go to school in Fargo. I'm going to say unfortunately, fortunately for me, unfortunately for the, the region. And then I lived in the Twin Cities for a couple of years. But I remember going back 20 years to when my wife and I came back, and around the idea of hard decisions, I was in a community roundtable event. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was a loudmouthed young professional at the time. And there was a lot of consternation over the facility we were sitting in right now, the Alaire Center. And I just remember speaking up at that time and saying, there's a lot of people here talking through things that really don't matter to me, because what matters to me is I'm not going to live in this community unless we're investing in things like this moving forward. And so, hard work, focus are the things that I want to see us really put our effort towards and moving the EDC forward.
I was there at that round table, and you described it accurately.
I was the loudmouth young professional?
That's the part I'm talking about.
Keith, maybe turning the tables on you a little bit. You've been with the EDC for 19 years, so I was there. It was about the same time you were there, and like, who is this guy? Yeah. But you've been the CEO for 8 years, doing this for a while. So tell me, what do you think about as far as what's keeping you coming back and your vision moving forward?
Yeah, just a couple of things come to mind. Number one, the work that we do is so important, and it's bigger than any one organization or any one individual. You've heard a little bit about today in different programs and the people in different organizations that we connect with. And bringing it closer to something that more recently, every once in a while, you have a project or an experience that really reminds you how much of a team sport economic development is. And Agristo is absolutely that. We talked a little bit about it tonight, and many of you know, but the agricultural producers in our region worked with Agristo for over 2 years. They're not, I don't think they're here today, but we have a couple of agronomists that really were the lead on this project connected with the company. So they really are the heroes in this in terms of they really sold it, and we had to bring the business programs in to really be competitive with the other location. It really starts with the mayor and Grand Forks City Council in terms of leaning in into trying to seize an opportunity like this. Current and former governor all had a role to play. We had a senator make a couple of calls to see if we can nudge things forward a little bit. At the state level, the Bank of North Dakota, the North Dakota Department of Commerce, and agriculture, all the commissioners and the heads of those organizations all met with the company in Grand Forks several times when they came to Grand Forks. Workforce partners. One of the meetings, Becca arranged for all of the different workforce partners, all the pipelines she talked about, to come and talk about how we as a community can support Agristo and encourage them to choose Grand Forks as their location. And again, the regional farmers and the agronomists really were the heroes in all of this. You know, true to our reputation, I've said collaboration is a Grand Forks calling card, and that really showed itself in that experience. And it reinforces something that we all know, but need to be reminded of every now and then, that when we work together, we're going to accomplish great things.
I think that's well said, Keith. Team sport, for sure. And I do want to thank everyone that has gotten us to that point, especially with the Agristo project. So, to wrap up here, I think the last question really is, what's next?
Yeah, well, you know, we talked about momentum, and I think just keeping that going, or not just keeping that going, that's a big part of what the future is, and making important decisions and sometimes hard decisions that you talked about, Sean, to make sure that we have the underpinnings and the foundation to be successful in the future. I want to steal a line from Senator Hoeven. You never say whoa in a horse race, so really to keep just moving everything forward. I think there's great things that are going to happen at Grand Forks Air Force Base, obviously with the new missions that are being contemplated. We don't know anything for sure, but things seem to be going okay there. Space Development Agency managing satellite constellations at Grand Forks Air Force Base. That mission seems poised for growth. Grand Sky with Northrop Grumman, General Atomics, the UAS test site. And the number of site visits, I know there's growth on the horizon there. I think there's greater opportunity with egg processing. Again, over the last several years, we've seen some greater interest in that. When we had the site selectors come to visit us, they talked about how Grand Forks has prepared itself for that type of industry. If you're investing in water and wastewater and transportation infrastructure, you're much further ahead in attracting those opportunities. So I think we're positioned for that as well. And I think we have greater exposure in that site selector community, so I think that will drive success. I think, you know, there's opportunities with data centers, particularly as we talk about natural gas coming from western North Dakota to eastern North Dakota for power generation. It's early in that discussion. I know it's a priority of the mayor, but I think there's going to be opportunities there in the future. And then we didn't talk about it today, and I saw Scott Snyder here earlier today, and we should have mentioned that the UND was recently designated as a Carnegie R1 research institution. I think there's a tremendous opportunity to leverage the assets at UND, and R1 designation will help recruit faculty and staff and really just elevate their research portfolio, which really at the end of the day helps support businesses solve problems, which is another value proposition for our region. You know, more red numbers, Sean, but just a couple more.
You have been the king of red numbers here today.
Today I have. Well, every time. I mean, it's not new. Anyway, we keep a board of active projects, and these aren't projects that we took a phone call, but these are projects we're working on, people and organizations to move something forward. That pipeline includes $1.2 billion worth of investment and 950 jobs. That's not all going to happen. So I'm not trying to tell you that there are things that are going to fall off, but then there'll be new opportunities to present itself. And I think what that type of pipeline means to me is people are seeing the value and companies are seeing the value in investing in Grand Forks. I've never been more optimistic about Grand Forks than I have today. It's fantastic and the momentum is real. Speaking of team sports, I really need to thank the team at the EDC. You saw Becca on stage, and Kevin got a pretty good shout out here today. Mark, I really want to thank Mark. He's somewhere in the dark back there, but really the annual meeting and all of this is his doing along with our partners, Mobile Pro. So I'm going to go off script here, and can we just thank Mark for all of his efforts pulling this off today. Brendan, new to the EDC Air Operations Manager, just retired from the Air Force Base. We're thrilled to have him. And then Brenna, who is decided not to show up today. Something about having a new baby seemed a little lame to me, but we're going to give her a pass. And please help me celebrate all of the EDC team for all of the work they do on behalf of the region. And finally, Sean, my last comment, I'm thankful for all of you for being here, but investing in the growth of the economic, of the community and supporting the EDC do the work that we do. So thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Keith. Well, like I say with that, that concludes our program for the day. Keith, as far as your what's next, I can't wait to work with many of you in this room, or most of you in this room, to go get all that done. So thank you. Enjoy the social hour, and thank you all for coming today.